What is going on, everybody? Today I want to share my favorite hikes and places to visit in Moab, Utah. Moab is an adventurer's paradise with a never-ending amount of fun things to do. Moab is home to 2 of the Big 5 Utah National Parks, Arches National Park and Canyonlands National Park, as well as Dead Horse State Park. In this video, I am specifically going to be sharing locations from Arches, Canyonlands, and Dead Horse. There's so much to do outside of these parks in Moab, so in the future I will put out a top 10 places to visit in Moab video outside of the parks, but for this we are going to be exclusively looking at these 3 parks. Real quick though, if you don't mind, it would mean the world to me if you could hit that subscribe button below and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps out the channel, and I have a handful of other top 10s, travel guides, and vlogs on my channel from all across the world, and a handful of Utah specific videos, so if you like this, you might like some of the other stuff on the channel. But without further ado, let's hop into my top 10 places to visit in Moab inside of the parks. First up is going to be one of the most famous places in all of Utah, and that's going to be Delicate Arch. It's so famous that it's actually on the Utah license plate, so while you're visiting, make sure to check out some of the locals' plates. Delicate Arch is going to be a 3.2 mile round trip hike with 629 feet of elevation gain. This hike is in Arches National Park, and it's going to be best during sunrise or sunset because the golden light just makes this place that much more special. I'd highly recommend getting there early because this hike gets more traffic than anywhere else in the park, so the parking lot might be full. Honestly, at this point in time, you're probably going to have a tough time with parking any time of the day, so whenever you're planning to do it, I would just recommend arriving 30 minutes earlier to make sure you can find a spot. Also, if you do this hike in the winter, I would recommend bringing micro spikes, as there is some exposure at the end of the hike, and the ice and snow can be very slippery on top of the sandstone. Next up is going to be Druid Arch, which is a hike that I don't think gets enough credit personally. I didn't do this hike until my 6th or 7th time visiting Moab. The first few times are because I had never heard of it, and the other times were because it's just so far outside of Moab, so it's quite the day's outing, and not to mention the hike itself takes a while. The reason for the long drive is because Druid Arch is in the Needles district of Canyonlands National Park, not the more frequently visited Island in the Sky district, which is right outside of Moab. The drive from Moab to the trailhead for Druid Arch is about an hour and a half away, and then the hike itself is going to be 10.4 miles round trip with 1,614 feet of elevation gain. However, this arch is worth it. It's very unique and the hike is awesome. Number 3 is going to be back in Arches National Park, and it's going to be the Park Avenue Trail. This trail has great views of the courthouse towers and the Tower of Babel. This hike is going to be 1.8 miles round trip with 298 feet of elevation gain. For this trail, you will actually be descending first, and then the elevation gain will be at the end of your hike on the way back to your car. I love this trail, and to me, it's unique to the park in the fact that there aren't any arches, but it's beautiful and it's worth the hike, and you're going to be surrounded by beautiful sandstone towers and cliffs the entire way. At number 4, still in Arches, is going to be probably the second most famous arch in the park, and that is Double Arch. This is a short and easy hike. It's just 0.6 miles round trip with 95 feet of elevation gain. This is a great arch to visit during the day. As a photographer, this isn't the best to photograph at either sunrise or sunset. In my opinion, it actually looks best midday. One thing I love about Double Arch, aside from how beautiful it is that once you get to the cave of the arch, you can just climb around as you please. It's a really fun spot to visit. It's honestly just like a big playground, it feels like. But if you are going to climb around on the rocks while you're visiting anywhere in this video or the outdoors in general, please make sure to practice leave no trace principles. All of us together can make sure that we can preserve these beautiful outdoor spaces for years and years to come. And on the other side of the Double Arch parking lot is going to be the trail for the Windows and Turret Arch. Those are beautiful, and if you have the time, I'd recommend hiking those as well. And it's right across the street, and it's just another mile or so you might as well if you have the time. Next up is going to be Cove of Caves via the Parade of Elephants Trail, and this is actually behind Double Arch, and every time I have done this hike, I have had it completely to myself, so I don't think it's too well known. On the Double Arch Trail, you're going to veer off to your left when you see the subtle fork in the trail, and then you'll walk around the backside of Double Arch, and once you're here, you will see the Parade of Elephants, Cove Arch, and beautiful sandstone rock sculptures in every single direction. If I had to guess, this is probably less than an additional half-mile round trip to the Double Arch Trail. At number 6, we're going to have Dead Horse Point Short Loop Trail. This is one of the few actual hiking trails in Dead Horse State Park, and really, you're just walking the rim of the viewpoint. The trail is 1 mile with 367 feet of elevation gain. It's great though because you will get to see the phenomenal views in every single direction. You'll see some of Canyonlands Island in the Sky District, the Potash Ponds in the distance, and their unique colors will change based on what hour of the day you're visiting, and the La Salle mountain range in the distance. This is beautiful all day long, but I personally really enjoy Dead Horse at sunrise. Next up is going to be one of my favorite trails in Canyonlands, and that is Mesa Arch. This hike is 0.7 miles with 88 feet of elevation gain round trip. It's a short and easy, beautiful trail that everyone should do while they're visiting Canyonlands. Now, this is likely the busiest place in all of Canyonlands, but for good reason. It's beautiful. At sunrise, the sun rises right in the middle of the arch as it comes up behind the La Salle Mountains. It's really unbelievable, and that's probably why this place is so popular, and probably why it's even more popular at sunrise specifically. But if you are going to do this hike for sunrise, you just got to be ready to touch shoulders with 8,000 or 9,000 photographers. It's still worth it, but it is extremely crowded in the morning. Back in arches at number 8 is going to be Sand Dune Arch, and this is one of the more unique arches in the park. It is a very easy hike. It's only 0.3 miles with 108 feet of elevation gain round trip, and you will start hiking in somewhat of an open field, but then you'll turn right and almost immediately you're going to enter a slot canyon that will lead to the arch. It's a beautiful arch. It's slightly tough to hike in the sand, but this is a must visit while you're in Moab. There is one spot, one of the times I did this trail was in the winter, and in the slot canyon before you get to the arch, there was this one spot that was very slippery, so just be careful. And even though it is such a short hike, if you have hiking poles and you're here in the winter, it might not be a bad idea to use them. At number 9, we're going to have Chesler Park Loop, which is going to be back in the Needles district of Canyonlands National Park. This is a long 10.4 mile hike with 1,820 feet of elevation gain. The beginning of this trail actually is the same as the trail for Druid Arch, but you will veer west onto the Chesler Park Loop for the majority of the hike after you've started. You'll be hiking in beautiful rock formations, and this is a lesser trafficked area of Canyonlands, so it should be a pretty quiet trail and a great place to find some solitude and peace. Last up but not least, at number 10 is going to be Just to Drive, the Island in the Sky, or the Arches National Park Scenic Drive. Both of these are going to be the most accessible places on the list, and you'll also get the most bang for your buck if you're short on time. My girlfriend and I both love hiking, we love getting outdoors, we love backpacking and rock climbing, so that's typically why I have these top 10s geared towards hiking, and a lot of them are top 10 hikes. But for this, I just wanted to include these because if you're not a hiker, totally understand that. But both of these drives are going to be incredible, and you're going to have amazing views all around. These drives have like a million roadside pull-offs, so you can take photos, take in the beauty of the parks, and it's just an all-around great option for people who can't hike, don't like to hike, or if they have limited time while they're visiting. Anyways, that is going to wrap up my top 10 places to visit in Moab inside the parks. I hope you guys liked this video and found some value in it. If you did, again, it would mean the world to me if you could give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions or need help planning your trip, please leave anything down below in the comments, and I hope to see you guys on a future video.